gosh, combining food with business, nice and tasty.
It's like a recipe made in heaven. and we have samples today. We have chocolate chip cookies from the Pure Pantry, so be sure to visit her website at thepurepantry.com. This is Elizabeth Kaplan that we're talking about. And Elizabeth took her recipe because it was not only because it was delicious, but there was also some health motivation there.
Right, and as I was mentioning in the prior segment, women want to make the world a better place. And typically when we have our children, we get ideas by virtue of being mothers. And so welcome, Elizabeth, to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so a lot of women want to know, okay, how did you start this business? And that's one part of the story that we always want to share with our viewers is, what was the motivation behind it? Because
it's the story behind the business.
It's the story behind the business, yeah.
What's your story?
Well, I was diagnosed with celiac disease almost 8 years ago now. And celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where the villi in your stomach lie flat and you stop absorbing nutrients. And the only way to cure this is to stop eating gluten. And gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and oats.
But you didn't know you had celiac disease for a very long time.
I was ill for a long time. I had no idea why I had all these symptoms. And once I was diagnosed, I found out that my middle son, Ryan, has celiac disease. My older daughter, Isabel, is gluten intolerant. So she doesn't have celiac disease, but she's allergic to gluten.
Okay.
So what are some of these symptoms that you were experiencing?
Well, I had, as I told you before, my hair was falling out.
See, right there.
Right,
right there, you got my attention. Doctor, figure this out. My hair's falling out.
I'm going bald.
Yeah. I had all sorts of stomach issues, which we don't need to talk about in detail, but never a happy stomach.
Right.
It seemed like just every day I had some problem with my stomach.
Was it painful?
Yeah, painful, and just couldn't figure out what it was.
Weren't you kind of freaked out? Like, something's wrong with me?
Really what freaked me out is that I couldn't get a diagnosis. It took me so long, after many, many doctor visits, to find out what was wrong. So I really encourage people, if you go online, like at the Celiac Disease Foundation website, and you look at the symptoms and you have any of those, to get a test. It's a simple blood test. Had I known, I would have saved myself a lot of grief.
Wow.
Well, and you were worn, I mean, you were tired, you were fatigued, and this is not typically your personality. You were a runner, you were working out all the time. Plus, being completely exhausted when you have two children. You have three children now, but at the time you had two.
Right.
That's not exactly a great place to be in.
Exactly. It was really hard, and that's why I knew I had to figure out what was wrong with me, because I couldn't keep up with my kids. So once I had my diagnosis in hand, I stopped eating gluten. I felt great. I felt like my old self. So,
now, how quickly, when you removed the gluten from your diet, how quickly did you feel better?
Well, I felt better within 2 or 3 months, and then within a year, I was totally fine. It takes a while for your gut to heal because there's damage to the villi from the gluten.
Okay.
So it takes a while to really heal, but I felt better in a lot of ways right away. But some of the more difficult symptoms, like the achy joints, joint swelling, that took a while because the gluten's still in your system and you've already got that inflammation in your body that you have to get rid of.
I'm sorry, but is this something that's rare, or is this something that's more common than we realize?
It's more common than we realize. About 1 in 100 people have celiac disease. Most people go undiagnosed. And 1 in 10 people have gluten intolerance. So 1 in 10 people are allergic to wheat. And
1 in 10?
Yeah.
My friend suffered from chronic fatigue, went gluten-free, lost 30 pounds, feels great.
Yeah. Often, see, that's what I was diagnosed with, was chronic fatigue, which means we don't know what's wrong with you. Really.
Chronic, yes.
Yeah, they just don't know. Why are you fatigued all the time? We don't know, so we'll just say you have chronic fatigue.
But let's say there's 1 in 10 people that have an allergy to gluten. How would you even know? Because it's so prevalent. I mean, it's in everything. We grow up eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. How would you even know that there's
You would know by certain things like having a stuffy nose, a chronic stuffy nose, by having inflammation in your body, so any swollen joints, achy joints. You might know by stomach issues, different, cramping, just discomfort, swelling of your stomach, bloating. Bloating's a big one. Bloating's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, the distension.
Which is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And often an immediate reaction to gluten consumption. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I don't really hardly ever eat pasta, bread. I eat quinoa because
right.
I notice I feel funky right after I eat it.
Well, good for you. That's great.
I
You just
do, and
adjust
I just
your
avoid
diet,
it.
and there's so many ways to cook without gluten. And I love teaching these Going Gluten-Free classes because people are desperate. They don't know what to do. They think that that they can't live without it, but you really can.
Well, and there's this whole industry being born. And
Yeah.
so you started cooking up these recipes just to help your family.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I started making my buckwheat flax pancakes. That was our staple at home. We made those all the time, even before I knew I had to be gluten-free. This recipe was naturally gluten-free because buckwheat is, even though the word wheat is in it, it's not, it doesn't have gluten in it. It's not a wheat grain or even related to wheat. And so the buckwheat flax pancake mix was a big hit in our family. And my son said, Mom, you've got to take this to other people. You've got to take this public.
Yeah.
So he was my motivation.
Well, that's the only, I make pancakes for my kids, gluten-free ones. Your product.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Before your product, there was another one, but now I use
But we
yours.
won't mention that
We
one.
won't
We only
mention
mention the
that
Pure
person's
Pantry now
name.
because it's a mom we know and trust.
Yeah, but I mean, my kids don't know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, you really don't.
No.
And that's the thing is that I put my culinary skills to work. 'cause
There's your
I-
beautiful products right now. So you were mixing up this pancake mix for your kids,
Yep.
and look, and now look.
Yeah, so now we have 8 products on the market, and what's really exciting is other companies are selling, besides all the stores we're in across the nation, other companies are selling our products
Really?
too. Well, this gift basket company, Planet Gift Baskets, it's at planetgiftbasket.com, they're purchasing our products and making gluten-free gift baskets. So there's
no,
like
that's a neat idea.
another
That's
way
awesome.
of promoting my
It's a very pretty
products that-
basket, too.
Yeah, it is. And
It's
that's for
nice.
Mother's Day. It's kind of a nice Mother's Day gift.
Well, I'm a big champion of gluten-free because just the way I know I feel, and I don't have, I mean, it just would drag me down. So this is exciting. Question, are you going to be making any type of pastas? Gluten-free pastas?
Well, hang on to that because we're
Oh,
third.
cliffhanger.
It's a big cliffhanger. Well, we have only 30 seconds left in this, and we want to make sure that we talk about how you started the business, and then also give some of the tips that you might have for a mom at home
Great.
who wants to maybe do the same thing. So we'll be right back with more of Elizabeth's story and the Pure Pantry.
That's right, on Mom's Town Live.